I'm Rich Scaglione. I'm with Locomotion Creative, and we're really lucky to have three really knowledgeable people that can talk about sports, marketing here in Nashville, and give some really unique perspectives. So let me introduce them to you right now. First, Jason Franke is Senior Vice President of Corporate Premium Partnerships for the Nashville Sounds. Prior to coming to Nashville, he spent 17 seasons with the PGA Championship, Tampa Bay Lightning, Utah Jazz, Detroit Pistons, Las Vegas Thunder, and the Las Vegas Stars. And he and his wife will be featured in an upcoming HGTV program, House Hunters. So look for him in March or April. Jason, come on up. Ralph Ockenfels is Vice President of Marketing for the Tennessee Titans. He's been with the NFL for more than 24 years. He was a point person for negotiating the 10-year naming rights for LP Field, and also helped launch Titans All Access television. Prior to joining the Titans, he was Assistant Director of Marketing in Chile, Green Bay for the Packers. Ralph. And Danny Shacklin is Vice President of Marketing for the Nashville Predators. And prior to joining the team, he spent 5 years with Country Music Television, where he helped promote CMT Crossroads, Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders making the team. Tough job, if you can get it, right? Somebody's got to do it. And The World's Strictest Parents, another good show. He started his sports career working for Major League Lacrosse. Danny. So what we're going to do, what I would like these guys to do first is just spend a couple of minutes talking about kind of what they do every day. So Danny, why don't we start with you? Just give us, 60 seconds of kind of what you do every day for the Preds. Is that on?
Sure. Everyone can hear?
Yeah.
Yay. Perfect. Basically, my job, I oversee marketing for the Preds and Bridgestone Arena. So not only we're marketing, the Preds every day, we're also marketing shows like Bob Seger, Fleetwood Mac, Maroon 5 coming to the arena. So every day is a little bit different. All falls under the marketing umbrella, which includes, creative, media buying, grassroots, social media, online, all falls under my department. Every day is fun, and with the #1 team in Nashville and the whole conference, it's a good day. So,
what about you, Ralph?
60 seconds, it's tough to distill it down. It runs the gamut, and it's kind of seasonal in nature. So during the season, it's more activation oriented and centric to what sponsorships have we committed to, what are we implementing throughout the course of the season. And that's really 12 months really ongoing. For example, it's kind of under the auspice or larger umbrella of the NFL, which has really become a year-round entity as well. So the draft is coming up, and then, with the season just wrapping up, now we're meeting with a number of our partners, kind of recapping the season, and then working on some new folks as well to join us for next year.
All right. Jason.
One thing in the minor league sports, and if you guys worked in the lacrosse or things like that, is we wear a lot of different hats compared to the NFL, NHL, NBA. So in my department, I oversee all the advertising, marketing, sponsorships, tickets, suite revenue, pretty much all the revenue that's coming into the stadium except for merchandise, including overseeing Center Plate, our food provider. So just making sure, and the one thing in the new First Tennessee Park is a very large increase in attendance, awareness. Greer, we did 72 games a year. We had probably 72 to 74 events in Greer, and that's all we did. At First Tennessee Park, we're going to be a 365-day stadium, from having these at our stadium to concerts, to the games, to everything else. We're looking at from a 225,000 attendance to over 600,000 plus attendance, not including other events going on. So there's a lot more things that we overreach and see, and including everything in the community and working with these guys, and April 17th becoming the new #1 sports team in Nashville.
All right, bold talk. Nice.
You guys aren't in season. That's what I meant. You're not in season.
We're in the summertime. Winter, fall.
Okay, so all of you are kind of coming at marketing from kind of a different point in your team's life cycle. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Danny, obviously the Predators are kicking butt. And so how are you capitalizing on that momentum through marketing so that your message kind of continues to be heard even through downtimes of which there will not be? But
Please. You always have to keep marketing is the answer. Right now we are seeing great growth. So we are promoting season tickets now. We feel like we have in the NHL the lowest cost per ticket and the best return on investment because the way of our play right now. So when you're doing really well, I guess season tickets, because we feel like if we could get people to one game, then I promise you, if you come to a Saturday night in Nashville, you get a band, you get the #1 hockey team in the league, and you get a good time. So I guess pushing them to 3-packs, 6-packs, 13-packs, and so on and so forth right now. In the downtime when team performance is a little down, you have to push single games is the answer. We have 41 home games. Trust me, it's a lot of games. And you do the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, come out and see us and come for the excitement of Smashville. I mean, we don't like talking about the lockout 2 years ago, but that was a time when ownership came to us and says, we're going to keep you in place even though other teams, the league is letting people go. We just need you to market the team. And you're just sort of looking at yourself being like, we don't have players, we don't have games. What do we market? So then you find creative ways to do it. For example, we surprised some youth hockey game. We basically brought in our announcer, our game ops, and everything. They usually have like 50 parents at the game. We brought 1,000 people with us. And we got over 500,000 views on YouTube, which is great. Try and do stuff in the community. But if you look at it very closely, we included sponsors in it. If all the kids did a press conference afterwards, so they had the Xfinity backdrop in it. So we sent it to Xfinity and say, look, even though other teams in the league are down and we're still providing value for you. So I guess no matter what time it is, you're always marketing.
all right, great. Okay, Ralph, the Titans are reloading, not rebuilding. So how are your marketing tactics? How are you using marketing to keep fans interested during this really critical time?
I think Danny touched on it. I mean, obviously, the three of us, we have no control of our record on the field. What we can control is the elements when you come to the game to make sure you're having a good time, and we can't control the score, but, when you look at some of the empirical data, and sometimes, even I'm too close to it, that you realize how big the NFL truly is. And it's one of the rare cases nowadays, because most of us, when we consume media products or television or whatever the case may be, we just run it on our DVR. The NFL is the rare occasion, and I think that's why they drive a lot of revenue and rights fees, is because it's a rare occasion where it's appointment TV. People want to watch it. This past season, we went 2-14, and nobody in our building thought we were going to be destined for a 2-14 season. But when you go back and look at the empirical data, I think our games averaged a 21 rating and a 36 share. If you looked at the top 15 programs here in Middle Tennessee and around the state of Tennessee, we would probably rank very high on all 15 of those programs. And that's in the middle of a 2-14 year. And you look at the recent Super Bowl, did a 51 rating, I think, locally, and almost a 50 rating nationally. So the NFL as an entity is kind of unique in that regard. Now, that being the case, we're always looking for touch points for our sponsors and our fans throughout the course of the year. The draft is coming up, and, when you look at the NFL draft, the draft continues to amaze me, because every year you think the NFL draft can't get bigger, and it continues to do so. Last year, the NFL draft, which is only on 2 cable stations, it's not even on over the air, when the ratings came back from ESPN and NFL Network, it outdid NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL playoffs combined. And that was the draft. And that's somebody tuning in to watch your 2nd round, 4th round, 5th round pick. So, what we try to do is regardless of what our record is, for our partners, and many of them are here today, you know, I can say it all I want, but if you talk to them, I think they would echo the sentiment that they really get a good bang for their buck when they advertise and sponsor the Titans.
All right. Jason, the Sounds are ready to open a new ballpark, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it while I set up a little video that you brought?
Yeah, so we got a new ballpark going on. Not sure if you guys know that or not. One thing I do want to say before I kind of go on this little spiel is, if you guys are a hockey fan or not a hockey fan, experiencing this run that the Predators are going on is something that's absolutely amazing. I was a part of well, I didn't play, but the 2004 Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, and it's still the best memories I've had in my sports career. And even when the playoffs do start, if my timing is right, do not do anything April 16th, 17th, and 18th, because you're going to be having home games for the Preds in the first round of the playoffs, and you're going to have the opening weekend at First Tennessee Park. It's going to be an amazing thing, but get out there, support the Preds, supporting the Titans. You know, we work together, and, you know, it's good to have all three of our teams winning. It's good for the community. It's good for everything, but definitely, you know, get out there to make sure you see a Preds game. But I think you're going to show a quick little virtual tour of one of our ticketing areas at First Tennessee Park.
The 18 private suites on the club level feature floor-to-ceiling glass windows, as well as exterior padded theater-style seats. These luxury entertainment suites are located along the first and third base lines and include exclusive access to the club-level lounge and social areas. These spacious suites are ideal for entertaining clients, building relationships, and networking with other business leaders. Treat your clients, employees, and friends to a truly unique ballpark experience. A limited number are still available.
So that's pretty cool. So obviously the newness of the park is going to draw a lot of people, but how do you keep that momentum going when the park isn't new anymore?
You know, and that's the one thing. The biggest thing is us getting it out there. Germantown is not a normal place that people go right now. It is going to be, by April 17th, become, I believe, the new Gulch. It's going to be a regular place people are going. A lot of activity is growing there between apartments, restaurants, just the whole atmosphere of kind of growing into downtown, and that's why we're kind of the centerpiece for that. And showing these virtual tours, we actually, if you go on firsttennesseepark.com, there's actually a 4-minute video that does a virtual tour of the entire stadium. On that same website, there's a live camera. So if you go on there today, you actually are watching people work. We actually have the grass going in about 2 to 3 weeks, seats going in a week and a half, all of our glass is in. Those suites you saw are actually the largest suites that you can get here in Nashville in any sports team for a 16-person suite. They are absolutely massive. I thought they made a mistake the first time I went inside of them. But keeping that atmosphere going, the great thing with minor league sports is win or lose, the fans come. We don't sell for the win. Yes, it's good to win because it adds to the experience. That's one thing. When I was at the Tampa Bay Lightning, we won 17, 18 games a year for the first 3 years. At that time, our COO was Sean Henry, which is the president for the Predators. So we had to come with some really creative ideas, a lot of cool marketing pieces, which you see what the Preds are doing. But then obviously you started winning, sell out, sell out, sell out. With us, 2 years ago, we had the worst season in history of the Nashville Sounds. We had 35,000 more people than the previous year. It's all about the entertainment, the affordability, just everything else. A family of four, minor league did a study, a family of four to go to a minor league baseball game, including, 4 slices of a shameless plug, Hunt Brothers Pizza. Picking up your, the Tennessean newspaper or Nashville Business Journal. Sorry, had to do that. And then, some tickets, merchandise. Family of four is around $65. The NFL, the NBA, the NHL is all the way from $250 to $450 for a family of four. They're great things to go to, great things there, but we have the affordability that no one can ever mess with. We have the promotional giveaways. We have the in-game activities. It's a fun factor. We are bringing a family. We have our faith nights. This year we're doing a T-shirt Tuesday where the first 2,000 fans of every Tuesday game is going to be a different customized T-shirt that they're going to get. Fireworks, fireworks every, Friday night, the July 3rd game. Just bringing that atmosphere, but just really being a part of the community. And, you know, our goal is to grow our community relations and our programs. Both of these organizations do a great job, and I would actually use them as our goal of us growing more in the community and doing more things that we can do. But add in this stadium right here in the club level, check it out. The club level just by itself overhangs half the lower level. You know, it's going to be 72 of our games are going to be 72 of the best networking events that you can do. And you guys all have been marketing. You wouldn't be here if you're not trying to get more clients or learn more things. And our club level for the season tickets, you know, you're going to have 1,500 different corporations and companies up there every single game. You meet one person, you just paid for your tickets and everything else. So, you know, it's just staying in the community, keeping the awareness. We don't have the budgets to market and do everything else that the Titans and the Predators do. So it's more for our staff being active in the community, active at these events, but, you know, just making sure that we're giving everything that we can do, you know, that you guys are giving out to us as well.
All right, great, thank you. All right, I know you're all involved in sponsorships. That's a key part of your marketing mix. So what's a typical sponsor looking for in a relationship and a partnership with your teams, and how do you best determine the correct inventory and marketing mix of assets for each sponsorship to make it work? I know, Ralph, you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
It's a little unique for us. In the NFL, you have 32 distinctly different markets, and we have national or kind of macro sponsors. Some of those would include like Gatorade, you see on all NFL sidelines. Every NFL head coach and their coaching staff wears a Bose headset. So sponsorships are two different perspectives. There's the macro national level, which those would fall into, and typically what that happens is a Gatorade or a Bose, for example, each market is very different. So what they're doing in Green Bay, where I was previously, versus what they're doing in New York, versus here in Nashville, for a Gatorade might be very, very different. It might be brand-centric. It might be hospitality-driven. It might be retail activation. It could be a combination of all the above. Maybe they want to do something focused on social media. So we'll do that at a national level with the Bose or Gatorades of the world. And then we also work on a regional or local level with a lot of our partners. And so really what drives that mix, frankly, whether it is a national sponsor or a local sponsor or a local partner, is really what are their goals and objectives. You know, I know there's a lot of agency folks here, and we get calls all the time, and they're like, hey, send us a media kit. And I'm like, we don't have a media kit. And they're like, what do you mean you don't have a media kit? I'm like, we don't have a media kit. Because what we do is we'll sit down with every single one of our partners, local or national, and say, listen, you tell us what your goals and objectives are. Is it branding? Is it activation? Is it in stadium? Is it off season? Is it hospitality? Is it driving folks through your doors? Or is it some combination of all the above? And then put the onus on us to put together a proposal. We'll come back, we'll present it. And I always tell all of our partners, I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, if you like 1 through 10 and 11, 12 don't work, that's fine. We'll take it out, because that's how we have success in the short run, but more importantly, that's how we kind of build that long-term equity and long-term success.
All right. Danny, I know you wanted to talk about sponsorships and the, is it Beneath the Ice?
Yeah.
Beneath the Ice. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that while I cue up your video?
It is. So basically, in regards to sponsorships, it seems like many, many years ago when a sponsor came in, they would say, what signage piece do you have? You would give them a price on it, and that would sort of be it. But with lately, all the metrics and everything that you can provide to a sponsor, you want to be their partner. You want to help them out just as much as they're helping you out. They're giving you basically a large sum of money, as well as season ticket holders. What can you do for them in return? Like Ralph was saying, we want to develop a plan that works for them and us. One thing we found successful is providing original content to our fans, which they love, and integrating sponsors into that. Nissan is a huge partner of ours. We love working with them. And we have a new show called Beneath the Ice. There's about 12 of them. There are about 7-minute segments. Liz Denning from Gamma Blast is here. Her company puts them together. They're amazing to work with. But basically, our fans are asking for behind-the-scenes access. So that is one thing we needed and wanted to provide to them this year. And Nissan gets the benefit of the hundreds of thousands of interactions that we've gotten over the season so far with it. So if you want, just to give you a little teaser about it. It's a 45-second segment with Roman Yossi, starter defenseman, Taylor Beck, and Seth Jones. Taylor Beck and Roman Yossi live together, basically in the NHL. If you're an older player, and when I say older, that means 24 years old. If you're an older player, you sort of take in the younger players. They live with you. As most of you know, most of our players are not from the U.S., so it's sort of a family at the end of the day, so if you want to play it.
Come with us on a journey through the most pivotal season in franchise history. Unfettered behind-the-scenes access. You'll be right there. Nashville Predators, Beneath the Ice. Presented by Nissan.
I told him he can move in if he does my laundry, goes buy groceries, and whenever I need something, he's basically gotta be there.
The fridge is always full. His laundry's always done. If he ever needs anything taken care of, I handle it.
Let's take a peek in there. Oh,
It kind of smells too, actually.
what do you guys? I don't know what you guys eat here. It's weird.
That's just a little snippet. If you want to see the rest, you got to go online.
Yep, we release it every Sunday at 7 p.m. So if you want to catch that, every other week, sorry. But yeah, I mean, that's basically our fans ask for behind-the-scenes access. They are 24 years old, 23 years old, and 20 years old. That's what happens when you go to college or when you play in the NHL. Nissan loves it, like I said, because they get the interactions, they get their brand associated with it. So we customize this for them. We take every partner, whatever their needs are, and try to meld it with sort of content or what activation can we do. For example, Nissan test drive for tickets. Go to Nissan, test drive a car and pick up 2 tickets to a Preds game. They want traffic driven to their stores, and we love new fans. We're all about data capture with the Preds. If we feel like we can get your information in a clean way, then we can get you to a game and then get you eventually 3-4 years from now into a full season. So that's our methodology. And everyone say hi to Nash.
It's perfect timing.
I asked for a ride home and they sent him. It's really weird.
All right, well, since Nash is here, we'll stay with the Predators for a second and talk about social media, because I know all of you guys are using social media, but Danny had a kind of a cool example of how social media kind of helped make a difference. Why don't you tell that story, and I can go through this PowerPoint with you.
So on January 6th, we played the Hurricanes, I believe. Pekka Rinne did an amazing save. Basically turned around, kicked the puck with the back of his leg. I don't know, I saw it, it just happened. But that night, you go home. As you guys know, after a game, you don't go right to bed. You just lay in bed checking your cell phone and stuff like that. So I saw that SportsCenter, it was up for top play of the day. So also the Kane Williamson's cricket catch was the other top play. So I don't know what a good cricket catch is, but I'm sure it's fantastic. So they tweeted this out, SportsCenter, and they have 12.8 million followers, I believe. So I'm sitting in bed and my wife's sleeping. I'm like, well, let's see what we can do with SportsCenter. So if you go to the next slide, I tweet them back. I should not have access to the Preds NHL account. That's number one. So I said, we're going to go with Pekka Rinne, final answer. So their brand actually interacted with our brand. My takeaway from this is, don't be afraid to talk to other companies. They want to talk back to you in a way, some way, shape, or form. So they responded back, you don't say. We responded back with, we know, shocker, now make us proud. So I was in shock. I woke my wife up. She's like, don't do that. It's 11 o'clock. I'm sleeping. But I'm like, this is so cool. I love SportsCenter. It's amazing. She's like, stop, don't. So the point is that if you interact with other brands, they'll interact with you. And the fact that we have, 200,000 Facebook, Twitter followers, and we're interacting with a brand that has 12.8 million, eventually there's going to be some osmosis that if we interact with them, they're going to interact with us. So the coolest part about it is I'm watching SportsCenter to see if we actually made it on the top play. So if you go to the next slide, I apologize.
I think that's it, right? Is that the one? The last one?
Let's see.
Yep. Which one
more.
you want?
There we go.
Okay.
So this is from my bed. I apologize, but I took a picture. It made it on SportsCenter. The tweet actually made it on SportsCenter, and that was a pretty good night. We won. Pekka got the top save of the night, and I went to bed a happy boy. So, number 2, interacting with other brands in a fun, I wouldn't say snarky, but just fun way is always a good thing. Even though I love SportsCenter, the one thing that it doesn't do is cover the NHL enough for me. And other teams around the NHL, believe this, all the NHL teams play with each other very well. So if, hold on 1 second, sorry. So ESPN tweeted out, "Hey Columbus, think you have the best fans, prove it." So Columbus responded back, "Who is this?" Because we don't get a lot of coverage. We're sitting in the office that day. I'm like, we should probably say something about this, but I don't know what. So we all got in a room and we're like, well, let's have a little fun. So we said, Blue Jackets isn't ESPN the station that only covers 3 sports, including LeBron's decision, part 6. It's hard to tell. So we got 2,100 retweets out of this and 2,000 favorites. Out of the other example that I showed with Pekka, we checked the next morning. We got over 1,800 new followers from just interacting with them. And we had fun. We got some new fans, and our fans were all over it. They're like, this is the funniest thing in the world. And you know what? It's a good time. So go from
The
there.
witty banter made
Yes.
the difference, yes. What about you guys? What do you guys do with social media, Ralph?
Well, it was pretty interesting. So the NFL allows us some pretty cool access over the course of the year. And one of them they allow, and it's experiential in nature, where fans, really kind of crazy super fans, get a chance to experience something they normally wouldn't. So in New York, when the draft was there, the draft is moving to Chicago this year. And we'll do something surrounding that, obviously, in a very large way. But last year, 2 years ago, we actually did, you could go to New York, you go Radio City, and you could announce our 4th-round pick at the podium. So what we did is we have upwards of 850,000 likes and 200,000 or so on Twitter. So we can reach 1 million plus Titan fans in short order, be it for our sponsors or for a joint promotion like this. So we said, hey, send us your best video as to why you should be selected as the Titan fan to go up to the podium and announce our 4th-round pick. And we got deluged with videos. Some of them were a little creepy, I'll be honest. But most of them were just awesome. I mean, people had taken it upon themselves to put together these really cool, great production value. And so we distilled it down to a top 10. And Danny's right. It kind of virally just organically started growing. We got more likes. When we got it down to a final 10, we put it back out on Facebook and Twitter, and we said, hey, just for casting a vote, that's all you have to do, you could win a trip to New York City for the NFL draft, courtesy of our sponsor. And then the top 10 were so great, our football guys wanted to, every morning they were meeting for the draft meeting. So they would take, for 10 days, they would take a different video and they'd show it to the general manager, show it to the scouts each day to kind of start their day when they were getting ready for the NFL draft. And Danny's right. It's a great way to interact. It's a great way to organically grow your likes. And really, when we had that down to the top 10, that top 10 videos really became our own army, if you will, that they were out there. They were on Twitter. They were on Facebook. They were saying, hey, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. And we recognized the top 10 at a game. We gave them personalized jerseys, got them tickets, gave them pregame field passes, put them on video board. But then we actually did the grand prize winner, shadowed him, did some great stuff for our TV show, and followed him all the way through the draft process.
I've got one more question for Jason, but before we do, we're going to open it up for questions in a couple of minutes. Who's got the basket with the business cards? Oh, can you pass that up too so we don't forget? One of the things that Jason wanted to talk about is you know, the Nashville has become a major league town, and but Jason is promoting what's called minor league baseball. So I guess the question for you is, you know, how do you use marketing to overcome, I guess, the assumptions and stereotypes of the phrase minor league?
I think I kind of answered that too early last time. But that's the thing with minor league baseball is, I mean, I've had people before come up to me And like, what did you do before? I worked for the PGA Championship. Oh, I did this for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, you work now in minor league baseball now. Did you do something wrong? Why are you, it's like, no, it's like, I'm not playing. No, I didn't get demoted. The great thing with minor league baseball is if you're in Des Moines or if you're in, some of these other small towns where they are the Titans or the Predators, where it's the only team in town, wins or losses, like I discussed before, do matter. For us, on, opening night, 10,500, 11,000 people there, during the middle of the season, the same amount of crowd, probably 90% of the people won't know what place we're in, which, honestly, that's fine. Because we know what they're there for. It's what we're putting a lot of our money and our resources into, and it's what we're giving our sponsors and our advertisers is promotions, that entertainment factor. Kind of the whole thing where, what Ralph was talking about was, we do give slides and everything else if agencies or other companies call saying, what can we get? We want to find out where they're branding, what they're doing. With our guitar scoreboard, that alone, just the main part of the guitar scoreboard equals over 860 32-inch flat screen TVs, and that's just one part of the guitar scoreboard. Just making sure we have the resources in this stadium. We consider us a major league team just as the Titans and the Preds. The only difference is, we're not in the Major League Baseball, but we're going to be drawing the same amount of fans that they're having this year. We'll compete toe-to-toe with them. Previously at Greer Stadium, there was, and I've seen some of this, where there has been some sponsors that could do us and the Preds and the Titans. I'm starting to hear more conversations now where, people are either kind of weighing their options of where they can go. Yes, some of our prices have gone up, but we're not making our stadium look like a minor league stadium, where in Greer, it looked like the back of a NASCAR, like most minor league stadiums where you have 65 signs. We're only going to have probably around 12 to 13 static signs in the outfield wall. We're going to have a 120-foot by 6-foot LED board. There's going to be people probably, probably Danny will probably text me saying, what, you can't sell the outfield stadium? Because there's going to be a bunch of blank spots. We're actually keeping that way because we want to make sure that we're taking care of all of our advertisers and our sponsors and making sure they're getting everything that they need. But, minor league baseball, yes, you do have that atmosphere, what we do. But our ownership group and the concerts and everything else that we're bringing to the stadium, like I said before, it's supporting all three teams here. It's making Nashville. Yes, the Preds are doing great. And if the Titans were in the playoffs and we have this new stadium, it's more of an atmosphere. What we need to do and what we need to support is not just one team, it's all three teams. And creating Nashville as not just Music City, but as one of the great sports cities, in the country. And I think we have the capability for that. We're excited with that and working with both teams and everyone else. I mean, and who else, doesn't have a blue cat for a mascot? I mean, that's pretty big right there.
All right. Let's let's leave some time for questions. If you have a question, just stand up and shout it out, because I won't be able to get back in there. We have so many people here. But just stand up, shout it out, and I'll repeat it so everybody can hear it. Who's got a question?
No parking questions.
No parking questions. No parking questions. Somebody's got to have a question. Here's one right here.
NFL, you got the wind in your back with the league, and you guys getting started with the new stadium. What are y'all learning from a game experience from the Predators? I'm not a big hockey fan, but the game experience, they really ramped it up. What are you guys learning from that as you move forward from the game experience team?
Okay, so the question is, what can anybody learn from the game experience that the Predators offer? Ralph, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So we work hand in hand actually with the NFL, and it's one where each team kind of does a deep dive with all their fans. Typically about 2 or 3 games a year, they'll bring in kind of an army of folks to survey your ticket holders, survey your single game buyers, club seat holders, and season ticket holders, and really kind of get drilled down on feedback, what they like, what they don't like. And then the NFL as a resource has gotten much better as far as what they can provide in real time. For example, 2 years ago, we spent a significant amount of money and resources upgrading to Wi-Fi on game day. So that allowed us, through our team app, we could say, hey, download our team app. You get real-time fantasy stats. You can watch 3 or 4 different camera angles. You can listen to the radio feed. And really, I think it's endemic to sports in general, you know, whether it's where I used to be in Green Bay or it's here or really any venue is, you know, more and more the networks do such a good job on the production of the TV, you have to make your game day or your live event that much more compelling to come. So no, and the Preds do a great job. And I think, you know, it's interesting because the NFL is kind of in a catch-22 in that regard. The TV ratings are great, but you want to continue that game day experience. You know, we were talking about just the other day, the Pro Bowl. You know, you've seen the NFL really kind of tweak the Pro Bowl. Used to be the AFC, NFC. Now they have a fantasy draft. And they're still trying to feel their way on game day what they wanted the Pro Bowl to be and what they want it to do. But, you know, on game day, yeah, we do extensive research with our season ticket holders, single game ticket buyers, and working with the NFL, always striving to try to make that better.
Okay. Who else has a question? Back there.
Yeah, it's for Ralph. In a year where the NFL as a league has battled a lot of off-field conversation and controversy, how do you, as the Titans, maintain your own personal brand? Without obviously straying away from your affiliation with the NFL, but make sure that your fans remember that you're the Titans, not part of that greater conversation and noise.
Okay, that was a good question. How did the Titans maintain their personal brand versus the overall NFL brand, which has had some issues over the last several months?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. It's very insightful. You know, it's one where the NFL does have macro issues. There's no doubt about it. You take domestic violence, for example, with the Ray Rice issue and what transpired there. You know, our ownership, Tommy Smith, and our ownership really kind of came to the forefront and said, hey, we want to be one of those teams to get out in front of that. We work with one of our partners, Bridgestone, for Monday Night Football. We worked with the YWCA. We committed a $100,000 donation initially. We worked with Bridgestone. We gave away 70,000 purple bracelets to prevent domestic violence and really help the YWCA. So you could text in that night as part of our Wi-Fi integration. So we raised an additional $25,000 with Branch Snedeker at halftime that game, and then incremental monies with Bridgestone. They donated. So it's a great question. I think what we try to do, whether there's macro issues or initiatives, there's also a ton of positives. You know, when you look at the NFL, they do a great job, the breast cancer awareness game. So we'll turn the stadium pink with 70,000 fans at a particular game, or the military awareness. We do a great job of supporting that and kind of taking that to the next level with our friends up at Fort Campbell. So it's both the pluses and negatives that you try to separate and differentiate your brand with.
Okay, a question over here.
Yeah, I don't know if you're really tied to the Preds, but how has HGTV changed your life?
How has HDTV changed life for hockey and football? Why don't you start, Danny?
I can see it better, number one. Overall, we have a great partner in Fox Sports Tennessee who broadcasts a majority, all of our away games. Our fans, I guess the best way to describe it is our fans enjoy it, they love it. So we want to bring that to them as many times a year as possible. The clarity is great. But yeah, no, all of our games are in HD, and we want to continue that way.
For us, it's a very compelling reason why you want to make your in-stadium viewership unique. We spent a lot of money and committed, you know, to significant upgrades. We have some of the largest HD video boards in the world. And in fact, we like to use them year-round. We've invited our season ticket holders. We've had a family movie night where we invited anybody who was a season ticket holder. They could bring their kids, and we showed Despicable Me 2 on a random June evening. And we've done that with some of our partners. But yeah, you know, HDTV is and the production value therein with the network TV, be it any sport, baseball, hockey, or the NFL. I think it's endemic that product's gotten so good that we need to continue to really give them compelling reasons to come to the park.
All right. Other questions? Right here.
Hey, Ralph, I'm from Wisconsin, so hopefully you still share those roots a little bit. But I have a question for those of us that are small business owners trying to market into the sports arena and trying to get time with you folks, obviously. Do you do vendor days for new innovative products and things? How can we as small businesses get into speak with you? Do you help out small local businesses in that respect?
Question is, do the Titans and I guess Predators do vendor days to kind of introduce things and maybe build partnerships with pro teams?
So it's a great question. I think, one, certainly track me down at this event and give me your card. I'd love to chat, especially about Milwaukee. Water Street, yeah, Water Street in Milwaukee. But no, it's a great question. Typically what we try to do is once a year is our existing sponsors, we have a sponsor summit. And really, with a room full of marketing people, it's a challenging environment. I go back to 2006 and everybody said, the Great Recession we had, which I thought was the ultimate oxymoron. I'm like, there's not too much great about this recession. But, we saw it firsthand. People are like, hey, do I make my car payment? Do I pay for my mortgage? Or do I keep my season tickets? And those are very, very compelling questions and difficult questions. So what we do with all of our team partners is we'll meet at least once, sometimes twice a year, and provide a forum for them to get together. So it doesn't matter if you're Coke, or if you're Pinnacle or Logan's Roadhouse, it's a challenging environment. So how do we bring our partners together and provide a conduit for them to move the needle? So when it gets to a smaller business like yourself, there's a myriad of ways to get involved with us, be it on the Titans radio side, game day side, or just a B2B event like this. But when we know it's a challenging environment for our partners, anything we can do to be a forum to help them, we're there. That's what we're a resource for.
All right. Another question. Back over there.
With you guys, excuse me, with the Sounds obviously going to the new ballpark, you also switched affiliations from the Brewers to the A's.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't heard as much talk about that. Do you guys have a role in marketing of the A's? Obviously, that's a big switch for you guys. But in terms of product on the field, it's probably not much different for the consumer coming to the game. What is your role to market that?
So the question is do the Sounds have a role in marketing the A's, which is the new Major League affiliate for the Sounds?
Yeah, we just at the winter meetings, we're having dinner with Billy Beane, and he said it's kind of weird. Not many Major League or any Major League Baseball team besides Oakland can say that they have a nicer AAA ball team than they do for the Major League Baseball team. But the way minor league baseball works is the Oakland A's are in their own world. The only thing that the A's control with our organization is the players, and that's it. The way our field is, they have a say, of course, because of the safety, everything else. But we signed on, with a lot of our things with Hyundai, and so if they had Nissan exclusive in Oakland, they have no say on anything. Anything we do, promotions, sales, marketing, anything like that, they have zero say in whatever we do. But the one unique thing is, you don't want to, wish anything bad on an Oakland A's player. But once an Oakland A's player, let's say if it's, Sonny Gray or, some of their other players there, they have a headache and they got to come down. I don't want to jinx them. And they come down and play for the Sounds for one game. We control where I can now design bobbleheads, promotional T-shirts, anything with their name on it. As long as they've wore a Sounds jersey for one day, we can use their things on that. Same thing, we can still use Don Mattingly's. We have a letter from that, but they have zero say on anything. But we work very strongly with them. The great thing with the Oakland A's is they're very strong, and Billy Beane believes in his minor league system. The Milwaukee Brewers were great partners. It was hard for me being from Minnesota, but I worked through it. By the way, go Big Ten. But that's the one thing is we're going to have an unbelievable product this year, and the Oakland A's used to be the Sacramento River Cats. The last 7 out of 10 years, they've won the PCL, or at least their conference, and I believe the last 3 to 4 years out of the last 15, they've actually won the whole World Series. So they'll have a great product.
All right, I have time for one more question. Who's got a question?
So talk a little bit about how you market to women and what percentage of your audience do you think are women?
How do you market to women and what percentage of your audience is women?
Wine. Players with tight pants on. That's probably you want the field level suites where you're only 45 feet behind the catcher. You're closer to the catcher than the pitcher. Now my mind's off track. You know, and that's the one thing is marketing. Like you talk about small businesses and the different areas that we have is we have such a broad demographic of fans. You know, we're going to have grass berm seats, 1,000 grass berm seats. That's going to be, you know, $7, $8 a ticket, all the way from your club level, different areas. But we're going to create. We're working right now with some jeweler companies and things like that for Mother's Day. For some of our promotional giveaways we're doing is going to be for like a ladies' night of creating those things. I know the Preds do some creative things as well for the women as well. But we really try to push that out there because, you know, let's all face it, we all know that the lady of the household usually controls decisions of what you're doing. So if we can get to the moms and everything else for the little leagues or everything else, they're going to be coming, you know, to the game. So, you know, it's the happy wife, happy life, and, you know, it's one of those things that we try pushing to everybody. And that's the one thing that we're doing different this year is we're doing a lot more digital marketing. We're doing some different things this year. Because marketing at Greer, you just want people to come to any game. With the new stadium, you know, and that's the rush that we have with season tickets is a lot of people think, well, I can get whatever for Greer because Sounds. It's not that way anymore. We're already 5 times over our season tickets from last year. You know, things are going quick on that, but we want to make sure that we target every single person in every market, and it's not just the Williamson-Davidson, it's the Wilson, it's just every different place that we're going to.
All right. Well, let's have a round of applause for the speakers.